Spine Paint, Rinse, Repeat, and today we're painting this Easter cross that says He is risen. You can do it on a door hanger or you can do it on a 12 by 12 canvas. There's an outline that will work for either. So I'm going to create on this door hanger. I had a special request to do so. Today we're going to use burnt sienna or brown, cobalt blue, deep yellow, phthalo green, not blue, phthalo green, white, black, violet or purple, and orange. I have the outline transferred on here already. If you're going to do that, you can do it in a variety of ways, but I like to use transfer paper, shiny side down in between the outline. You're also going to need a plate or a palette to put your paint on, water, and paper towels. Brushes, I most often use small, medium, and large flats and small, medium, and large rounds, but you can use whatever you have available. Start with the background and then we are going to work our way forward. So I'm going to get some blue out here, some white, and some violet. I'm going to grab a large flat brush and going to start mixing white to, I'm going to say 2 parts white to 1 part blue. We're going to go pretty light with this. This is going to be the lightest color of our background. Once you've got it mixed up nice and light, we are going to start right in the center of this cross and we are going to create some rays going outwards. We want them to be nice and bright and we're going to blend them out. Working out from behind the cross here. I'm going to try to leave the inside of that cross pretty clean, but I'm not worried about the edges. Just go ahead and start radiating these rays from the back of the cross here. All right, now I'm going to add a little blue, just a little pinch in there. I'm going to darken this color up just a bit, not too dark. I'm going to add another layer and then we're going to blend that in as well. So overlapping some of that white, pulling that white outwards still. Since the white is wet, it will blend. using a lot of paint today because I am putting on a door hanger, which is MDF material, and this just sucks it right in. So you may not have to use quite as much as I have. You build up this color deeper and deeper. So I'm going to add some more blue and a little bit of violet this time. More blue, more violet. Just have a little bit of that peeking in on the left side there. All right, I'm happy with that background. We are going to add a little bit of yellow radiating from that cross, but I want the blues to dry just a little bit first. So what you can do at any point, you can pause this video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this with my heat gun so it dries a little faster. So if you have a heat gun or a hair dryer, you can pull that out and dry this quickly. All right, nice and dry. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to add some of that yellow. And so I'm going to need some white and some yellow on my palette. And I'm going to go ahead and get a flat brush. And I'm going to go back in with just a little white lightly. very, very lightly on here. Just add a little bit of white. That'll brighten up that under layer of yellow. All right, and so I'm going to mix white with a little bit of yellow now. I want mostly white, so maybe like 2 times the amount of white as you use yellow. This is going to give you a nice lemony yellow. And we are going to paint the rays coming from behind the cross with this yellow. So I've got a flat brush and I'm kind of just using the thin side of that flat brush. Extra paint over here, that's okay. Making a mess on my fingers. Now I hardly have any paint on this because I've already applied most of it, but I'm just kind of dry brushing a little bit. And that is where that paint is coming from. And a big glob on the edge of my canvas. All right. All right, so those are the rays. Now I'm going to add some browns to the cross. I want to darken this up. And so for that cross, I'm going to use my brown, my burnt sienna. And I'm going to clean off that little flat brush, and I'm just going to apply that burnt sienna to the cross there. Now you don't have to, but we do have the cloth that goes across the cross, and so I'm going to leave that clean for the most part. I'm not worried about the edges. There we go. All right, now I'm going to take this color and I'm going to add this burnt sienna with a little bit of white. I'm going to lighten some of this up. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of pull in some lines here and there. this is going to be kind of the start of our wood texture. So this just gives us a little bit of layering. More white, just kind of layering that in there a bit. All right, now I'm going to get some black on my palette. And what I'm going to do is mix an equal part of this burnt sienna with an equal part of black. And so let's see what happens to this color. We want a nice deep dark brown. Parts of this, I am going to add just a few strokes of lines in here with this dark color, but most of this is going to be shadow. All right, it's a little dark. I'm going to lighten it just a pinch, but I still want this to be pretty dark. You can get your shadow color any color that you want. All right, I'm going to switch to a round brush. And what I'm going to do with this darker color is we want to start making this look like wood. And so up at the top, I'm going to kind of come up and jagged my edge with that deeper tone. Where the cloth is, there's going to be a shadow down here. So I'm going to add a shadow and then split upwards. Pulling a little bit of that color up. And here at the end, we can pull some of that downwards too. Just trying to give the impression of wood, a wood beam. Okay, underneath the cloth, we've got another shadow. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull that downward. And maybe you can add a little knot in the wood here or there, a few lines on the bigger section. Under this cloth on the right and left, we do the same thing. It's shadowed. So we are going to pull that shadow outward. We are going to jaggedy that edge. Pull little bits of that inward. And do the same thing on the other side. Don't forget to jagged up that edge. Alright, there we go. There is the wood part of our cross. can kind of give it that wood effect however you want to. Add little pops of different browns here and there, whatever feels right to you. All right, next let's start working on that cloth. So for the cloth, we need a darker violet and a lighter violet. So I'm going to mix up a lighter violet, so that's going to be purple, 4 parts purple with a little bit of white. And that's going to lighten this color a little bit. And then I'm going to pull this color over here and do the same thing. About 2 parts purple to a tiny bit of black. I'm going to darken this color. That gives us 3 shades of purple to work with. We've got the violet plus white, and the violet plus black, okay? All right, so I'm gonna get a larger round brush, and I'm gonna go in with just the violet first, the purple, unmixed, and I'm just gonna add a layer of this purple in here. And I'm gonna paint the cloth. I'm gonna do each part separately, so starting kind of here in the middle. And painting it separately helps me by making these lines that I can refer back to, so I know which part of the cloth has folds and that kind of thing. All right, and then the top line here. All right, so that's all just paint. There's, it's a little transparent so you can see through it, but that helps us be able to see where the folds are there. Now here, we've got a cloth that kind of is dangling. So I'm going to fill that in with my purple. And then just as if this were in 4 sections, I'm going to pull 4 different lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll kind of just help me vertically see where I need to put my lights and my shadows. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to add that layer in of paint, and then I'm just going to pull in some sections. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and then we're going to do some highlights and shadows. So I just wipe off my brush. I don't need to wash it because we're working within our purples. And then I am going to, kind of in the center of each section, just pull this lighter purple. Same thing here. And the lighter in the sections, I'm just pulling this lighter color. All right, now I can dip into my darker purple here. And this is going to be for those shadow areas. So in between each section, there's a little bit of shadow. And so I can pull this darker purple in there. And it's okay if it mixes with the violet a little bit. What we're doing is trying to create some interesting layers. Now underneath the back here, it's definitely going to be darker, so I'm pulling that shadow behind there. Pulling that shadow downward. And then in between each section, just a little wavy line upwards will give the impression that this cloth has some different folds and bends in there. And that's all there is to it. You can blend it as much or as little as you need to. All right, next, I'm going to switch to my smaller brown brush. I'm going to get some orange on my palette. Now, I'm bad about this. I'm kind of running out of room. If that's the case, just mix somewhere where things are not wet anymore. All right, so I'm going to take this orange and I'm going to do the background layer on all my little flowers. This is going to be an under layer. It's going to make them really pop. So on all these lilies down here, come through. And we're just doing the petals. We do not need this layer to be perfect. It's okay if some of the underpainting shows through, some of the background shows through. We are just kind of planning out these flowers. All right, I'm going to get a little green on my palette here. And I'm going to mix green and yellow and maybe a little bit of the orangey brown. So I'm going to do my green and my yellow first. And then get a nice grassy green, and I'm just going to add a touch of that brown, the pure burnt sienna, and kind of change the tone of that a little bit. All right, and with this thin brush, I'm going to come through and I'm going to add some of these fun little leafy petals that we've got going on here. I'm kind of moving around because I don't know where to start, but here and there, we're just going to pull some long, thin pieces of greenery. And if you've lost your lines, that's okay. Just add in some little additions of greenery here and there. Little sprigs. I'll attach to these stems. Once you've got that in there, all the necessary parts, each flower has a stem. There's, a little bit of green wisp here and there. Then I'm going to add a little more yellow and maybe a little white. Just lighten this up a little bit. And then I'm going to fill in some of this extra space with some additional shoots and green things closer to the foreground. The next thing I'm going to do here while this stuff down here dries is some lettering. So I'm going to get a thin, but not too thin, round brush. I can use the same one I was using for the greenery. And clean that green out. And then I'm going to come over and get some black. Now when I do lettering, I like to thin it just a bit. Now I don't want it to be too watery, but I want it thin enough to get some clean lines. All right, and then I'm just going to go over the lettering. If you can see it from the outline, that's fine. If not, go ahead and just don't be afraid to use your handwriting. A lot of times people are so afraid to use their handwriting, but it is absolutely beautiful. And everybody's handwriting is so very different, and it's kind of like unique to the individual, which I think is super cool. There we go. I'm kind of digging that. We are kind of in the home stretch here. I am going to use this black that I've got and just a thin brush. And we need to do this crown. So I'm going to turn this just so I don't make a giant mess. And again, you can follow your outline. But really what this is a couple wavy circles kind of intertwined together. And then add in some thorns. And those thorns are going to go in all different directions. All right, this stuff down here is a little more dry, so I'm going to go back to my round brush. I'm going to clean it off a little bit. All right, I'm going to mix a little bit of this green with an equal part of yellow. And then a big old dollop of white. We're going to get a really light kind of limey green going on here. That's what we're looking for. All right, when you get your color where you like it, I'm going to come in here and just add some touches of highlights in these flowers in the petals of the greenery. You don't have to do every one. We just want some of those to pop. I'm going to clean out my brush because we are going to add some white to these lily petals. All right, so nice and clean. I'm going to come in here with some clean white, and I'm okay if some of that orange kind of peeps out from behind. That was the whole idea behind having that orange back there. All right, while I've got these lilies a little bit wet, I am going to mix a little of that deep yellow with a little bit of white. I don't need to go too light with this because while these are wet, I'm just going to pull in a few strokes of white on each lily flower that is open. So right on top of the white, I'm pulling a little bit of yellow. I think I said I was going to pull in a little white. I'm pulling in a little yellow on top of the white. And then with a nice thin brush, I'm going to go back into that orange. And I want to add some of the centers, the stamens, to these lilies. And so I'm going to do that with orange. And that is a line with a little dot on the end. And they just go in the open lilies. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pinch of black and I'm going to mix up a light gray, the lightest gray in the whole world. I really just almost want it to be white. And then what I'm going to do is here and there on these lilies, I might add a pinch of this gray. We're just adding kind of some depth to these petals. Then I'm going to dip into my pure white and add a few little highlights. So the white that we added the first time around definitely has some transparency. We're going to see some of that orange through that. So where we add this other white, it's going to make it nice and highlighted, especially with those bits of gray that we added. And there you have it. There is our Easter cross. I cannot wait to see what you create. I hope you will consider sharing with me. You can do that by tagging me at Paint Rinse Repeat or hashtag Paint Rinse Repeat on all the socials. Or you can join my Facebook group. It is completely free to join. You can share anything you create with me or things that you create on your own. We will cheer you on. So you can type this into your internet address bar, facebook.com/groups/paint rinse repeat, and that will take you there. Or you can do a search on Facebook and it will bring it up for you as well. So I would love to see what you create. You can share in there. I also want to tell you about my supporter membership. I have an option that is only $9.99 a month, and it includes up to 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 7 paintings a month that you can choose from to participate in. And you can do as many or as few as you want to, but it's a great way to be creative and set aside some time for yourself and paint. So consider that as well. You can find information by typing in this address, or you can go to my Facebook page to find information on that. So thank you so much for painting with me today. Can't wait to see what you create, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.